The French fishermen say this is an act of protest, not an act of war. Still, the UK sent 2 warships to monitor the dozens of small boats and support Jersey's fishing fleet.
It's been a fairly tense few hours, but French will really have to get used to the fact that the world has changed.
So France then sent its own naval vessels to monitor the British.
What worries me about this situation is the scope for miscalculation or a mistake or an accident, a fatal accident. That would be awful.
They set sail before dawn, around 60 French fishing boats heading for Jersey. They say the island's government has unreasonably cut off their fishing rights. This started as a row about how the Crown dependency implements the Brexit agreement on fishing, but it escalated into a war of words between Paris and London, the people of Jersey caught in the middle when a French minister suggested they could cut off Jersey's electricity supply. And so HMS Tamar and HMS Severn were sent to Jersey's waters as a show of force to support the island.
It sort of, in a way, it helped to escalate the problem rather than de-escalate. But I think it was a necessary sort of assurance. It was an important thing to do, to see that support. It was good to see it.
Hello there, this is protection vessel Severn.
Fishery protection is a routine job for these offshore patrol vessels, a combination of policing a regulated industry and protecting UK waters. But they're also used for counter-narcotics and counter-terror operations. They carry firepower.
One's got a 20mm cannon, one's got a 30mm cannon, and don't underestimate the impact that they can have, but they'll be covered up. I mean, they'll be very deliberately covered up. This is non-escalatory.
What can they actually do?
Well, first off, they can generate an awful lot of conversation. I mean, here we are talking about it. Let's not underestimate the power of persuasion. But it sort of reminded me a little bit of the mounted police turning up and asking, what's the horse actually going to do? I mean, probably not very much, but it's also going to stop you from messing about anywhere near it.
The reality of this situation is a protest involving a fleet of relatively small, unarmed boats has resulted in the deployment of 2 British warships and, in turn, 2 French warships. 2 allies bound not just by NATO, but a 2-country defence cooperation treaty squaring up to each other in a show of military might.
It's a very bad look for allies, and the idea that we are now, as it were, competing on fisheries protection with our military assets is very poor, which is why this whole situation needs to be diffused very quickly. This should be about negotiation, not, as it were, gunboat diplomacy on both sides of the channel.
The French fishermen's protests lasted just a few hours. They didn't land. A representative from Jersey's government did though sail out to hold talks on one of the fishing boats. But the island's government told Forces News sending in the Royal Navy was not an overreaction.
Of course, we welcome peaceful protest where people have got messages to give to government, and today appears so far to have gone off reasonably peaceably.
Have you actually needed the Royal Navy to be there then?
Well, the Prime Minister said that he felt that it was a precautionary measure and would help monitoring Jersey's waters, and I think his analysis was correct.
The deployment of Royal Navy vessels in a tense dispute over fishing rights is far from new. It evokes memories of the Cod Wars with Iceland in the 1970s. Those took years to solve. In Jersey, everyone is hoping this will be solved a lot sooner, and that the Royal Navy will not need to be called back. James Hirst, Forces News. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.